Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever you happen to be watching this. I hope it's going well. And I hope that the last exam that we just finished went fairly well too, as we move into our third and probably most important unit. Starting here in Chapter 5, where we're going to be setting the stage with the normal distribution for a lot of important things that are going to be coming up later throughout the semester. So 5.1 is really all about introducing what the normal distribution is, or I guess you could say reintroducing what the normal distribution is in terms of its basic properties that we're going to get in more detail than when we talked about it earlier, along with some special patterns that we have with what is called the standard normal distribution, and then a little bit of talk with things in areas underneath curves to finish off that first section. And then in 5.2, we're going to extend those ideas to more natural and more useful contexts, talking about areas underneath curves in the context, twice in one sentence, of probabilities. So seeing how we can develop these ideas that we set up in 5.1 to more general cases of normal distributions. Because while there's a lot of reason to stick with standard normal, there's a lot of convenience associated to that, well, it's not always worth the time to convert it when we know what happens more generally anyway, as long as we're careful. Where in here as well, there's going to be a lot of talk of use for calculators that is not necessarily maybe a replacement for difficult math, like we saw in chapters 2, 3, and 4 in places, as much as it's a situation where you absolutely have to learn to use a calculator or a table or something computationally geared, because actually doing this stuff by hand requires years of work with calculus that I'm assuming maybe only a couple of you have anywhere near what it would take to understand what we're trying to do, much less actually do it. This is a very special procedure that happens to be well described, so our calculator can do it for us, and that's what I'd strongly recommend doing, which is why I made a bunch of tutorials for you that you're going to see as you're working through these things. Anyway, in terms of what we have to do for this week, we've got a worksheet which is going to talk about some of that sort of stuff, just getting practice, finding basic values with these constructions. And then from there, we've got my lab deadlines for next Tuesday with these first couple of sections. I did only make it 2 sections here, so we can take it slow, make sure we're getting the basics down, because these are important basics to have. And then, instead of having a pre-assessment for next week, we're doing something a little bit different, where I'm giving you guys what I call mid-semester feedback. So, we are about halfway through the semester. We've gotten 2 of our exams in the books at this point. We don't have half of the assignments done, I don't think, but we're a good ways away through what we're going to do. And this is a good time to make sure that people are getting what they need, what they want from this class. This is something I give to just about all of my classes at this point, and if you've taken a class from me before, you've probably seen a version of it, and you're probably going to see some familiar questions for that matter. But I like to put these in here around now to give you guys a chance to let me know how things are going. So we're not going to have a pre-assessment, and that's going to be due next Friday instead of next Monday, so you have a little bit more time for it. And hopefully by this point you've seen at least something about that, like an announcement, or you've seen me talk about it in class already, where you know what we have as far as how that works. It's a chance for you guys to let me know things, so it's extra credit, or kind of extra credit, but I don't want to spend the next minute and a half talking about it and still not quite getting across what I need to with how it works. Anyway, these are the things we're going to do. These are the things we're going to be looking at, so let's get started here with Chapter 5.